Here's an update to the severe weather potential for Monday, June 16th. We are expecting severe thunderstorms to form out to the west of our area later today and move towards our region during the late afternoon into the evening hours. West of the Mississippi River, looking at mainly during the early to mid-evening with the potential for just about any type of severe weather. And the confidence in this is in the medium to high range. Expecting storms to move in that have the potential for damaging wind, a little bit of large hail potential. There could even be some isolated tornadoes and some heavy rain. As the storms transition into Wisconsin later in the evening, the tornado threat will be lower, but there could still be some large hail reports, more likely some damaging winds as the storms progress east, and the remnants of all the heavy rain. So again, our looking at is for time range would be this evening, with threat of damaging winds being the highest priority, but we could also see large hail, brief tornadoes, and heavy rain. The Storm Prediction Center, as part of the National Weather Service, did upgrade our severe weather outlook for today to a moderate risk, which is one of the higher risk levels that extends across parts of extreme southern Minnesota and much of northern and central Iowa this afternoon. And as you can see, the slight risk area for severe weather covers the rest of the region. Looking at the tornado probabilities, and again, this is the probability of a tornado within 25 miles of any point. You can see the highest levels do extend west of I-35, covering much of the northwest part of Iowa and far southern Minnesota. But there is still a 5% range, which is still relatively high across the rest of the region here. The thunderstorm wind probability is probably highest across our area. The likelihood is the highest, and you can see how those values are highest across northern Iowa, but we do expect as thunderstorms progress east that they will continue a wind threat moving into Wisconsin. The hail threat is largest to the west, where storms will be initiating today, but some of the storms as they progress east could still have some hail as they move into Wisconsin. Another story with not only today but much of this week will be different rounds of thunderstorms and the heavy rain potential. Today there could be an inch or two of rainfall across the Minnesota-Iowa state line corridor into Wisconsin. But as you look ahead to tomorrow, again, still remnants along Interstate 90 and 94 of some heavy rain. Even the day after tomorrow, as we get into midweek, another thunderstorm complex could bring rounds of heavy rain. And again, later in the week, more heavy rain potential. So we do have a setup as each one of these rounds of thunderstorms impacts our area through the week of some flooding potential, not only just on rivers, but flash flooding in local areas. The total rain for much of this week, you can see that there could be anywhere from 3 to 5 inches in locally higher amounts, which could again cause us problems as we progress through the next several days. This is a look at our weather story graphic, which just highlights the main danger areas today. And I guess the biggest message for today would be the highest tornado risk is west of the Mississippi River. And as storms progress east, they'll likely just have more of a wind threat. Again, heavy rain could bring us potential problems, not only today, tonight, but through much of this week. Getting back to our highlights, again, early to mid-evening, potential is highest west of the Mississippi River across parts of southern Minnesota and Iowa for large hail, damaging winds. There could be some brief isolated tornadoes and, of course, heavy rain. Into Wisconsin through the evening, the threat would more likely be just damaging winds, perhaps some hail, and the remnants of the heavy rain. When we look at impact, again, there is potential for wind damage along with some hail and locally heavy rain. Couldn't rule out a tornado, but that tornado risk is definitely highest to the west of the Mississippi River. With the wind threat, widespread wind damage is possible. We could be looking at winds of 70 miles per hour or higher, and that could knock down trees, power lines. There could be some sporadic power outages as well. Again, the timing anywhere from late this afternoon into the evening. And as we go ahead into the evening activities, make sure you plan your activities very carefully and keep an eye on the weather. Storm spotters will likely be needed, especially west of the Mississippi River. This briefing was conducted around 9 a.m. on Monday, June 16th.